If it's true that following the crowd means not being who we want to be, then why do we follow the crowd? So is there anybody we can think of who doesn't want to feel safe, fulfill expectations, and fit in? So that when you're following the crowd, you are being who you want to be. Because you're getting the things out of it that you want. The problem comes when these are not the things that you want. And you're being kind of funneled into these things, if that makes sense. So, for example, last week, it was very brief, and you may not remember it. I think I actually put some papers out for you if you wanted them. Remember that wheel with types on it? And the purpose of that sheet was to go back to what Brittany was saying, is to help you find yourself. Because the idea is that you are one of these types. You fulfill one of these types. You're an explorer, or you're a hero, or you're a jester, or whatever it is that you are. And then once you know which of these things you are, the idea is that you're setting out on this journey to discover which of these things you are. And once you realize which of these things you are, now you know the kinds of things that you want to pursue in life. So, for example, there's an archetype of the every person. That would be this right here. Yet the person who wants to fit in, fulfill what's expected of them, and so forth. You've also got the archetype of the innocent, child. And what does a child want? The child wants to feel safe. So in other words, if you are the every person, well, then it absolutely makes sense for you to pursue these avenues, because that is who you are. And again, we have this idea that if you join the crowd, and you follow what they're doing, somehow this is a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing if you do it without thinking about it. If you do it uncritically, without it being who you actually are. And most people actually are this thing. We may want to be something else, but if you are this person and you try to pursue the life of like the artist, the creator, you're going to be unfulfilled because you're not an artist, you're not a creator. It's kind of like there's a big difference between a creator, an artist, and a violinist or a guitar player. There's a difference between playing an instrument and being an artist. The artist, remember, is seeking innovation. They want to do things in a new way. They want to create. If you learn how to play an instrument and you only ever play other people's stuff, you're probably not really that thing. You might be talented. You might be able to make a living at it. But there's a difference between that and feeling like you are fulfilled. You know, it's like when you look at why do so many actors, it seems, just kind of like lose their minds? Why are actors so odd? Why do actors seem like perpetually unhappy? Well, their whole life is being somebody else. Their whole life is not living who they really are. And sometimes you'll see these scenes like from real life where actors from movies will try to pretend to be someone from one of their movies. And you can sit there and shake your head and just go, man, you're not even really you. I was thinking about an interview I saw with Ben Affleck. I was driving in this morning, and I heard something on the radio about this. I was remembering it was quite sad. It was a while ago. It was before the Batman movies. Remember those Batman movies? I'm trying to forget those Batman movies. And he's on this show, and he's just going off about something. I remember watching it going, you don't believe a single word you're saying. You're saying something the way you think somebody who believed that would say it. But you don't believe it yourself. Because when, no matter how good of an actor somebody is, there are still tells that a person's acting, because there are certain strategies that you follow, certain techniques that you use. And if you know those strategies and you know those techniques, you know what to look for. It's kind of like I was saying that there are only really 7 basic plots of any TV show or a movie or a book or whatever. And if you know what those 7 plots are, within the first few minutes of watching a movie, you know how it's going to end. You can turn to the person next to you and say, here's what's going to happen, and be pretty accurate with it. It's neat because you can figure things out pretty quickly, but it also makes you annoying to watch TV and movies with, because you can always tell what's going to happen. So what that means is that a TV show or a movie or whatever is interesting, not because of the plot, but for how they execute the plot. Like you know that the hero is going to have to encounter something that makes it look like they're about to be defeated and then come back from it. You know that's going to happen, but it's how the movie does it that makes it interesting. If it does it in a cliche way that you've seen 1,000 times before, we kind of roll our eyes like, wow, whatever, predictable. If they do it in some new way, we're like, wow, that's great how they fulfilled that archetype of the hero. The same is true when you're watching an actor act. You know they're acting. You know there are lots of tells that give it away. It isn't that. It's that you look and go, wow, that's amazing. And they do a great job with fulfilling that one specific acting technique. And again, you can see this like in TV shows in interviews, and you realize that they just kind of fulfill that same role. Now, why might they kind of lose their mind from it? Maybe they're really not the actor. Maybe they're not really the artist. That's not their archetype. Maybe they're talented at it. Maybe somebody else thought they were talented and gave them an opportunity to do it. And it's like, why not? That's better than working in a cubicle. But if that's not their type, then that's not their type. It's not who they are. And so we can go about fulfilling roles in our lives that are not us. You can put a turtle shell on your cat. Your cat's not a turtle. It won't be a turtle. Even if you paint it green, you can say, it looks kind of like a turtle. If you look at it from the right angle, the right filters, but still not a turtle. It'll never be one. And the more that you kind of assess it based off of its turtleness, the more short it's going to come up in measurement and judgment. And so if this is who you are, the everyday person, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But be the best that you can possibly be as an everyday person. If you're the artist, be the artist. If you're the hero, be the hero. But don't try to be the outlaw if you're the hero, and vice versa. So what the outlaw is seeking is liberation. They want to not be constrained by rules. They want to be freed from those kinds of things. It doesn't mean they want to necessarily break rules. It doesn't mean they want to destroy things. They just want to be liberated. They want to be free. So when Aurelius is talking here, the object of life is not to be on the side of the majority. It's not the object. It shouldn't be a matter of like, well, the majority believes this, so let me believe it also. That's not you fulfilling your type. It's you looking at yourself and saying, wow, I am like the majority of people. So it's not trying to pursue being on the side of the majority. Most people, by the way, by definition, are on the side of the majority. So we shouldn't pursue that thing. If you are that thing, no problem. You shouldn't have to pursue the thing. You should just be the thing. If that makes sense. Your cat doesn't have to sit there and ask itself, how do I be a cat? An actor does. But rather, the object of life, and again, it's the object of life, the point of life, is to escape finding yourself in the ranks of the insane. Wherever that is, by the way. Again, the ranks of the insane, it might be the minority. It might be the minority view. It might be the majority view. We don't know unless we examine those views. And I'm sure we can all think of some views that we've had in the past few years that find us in the ranks of the insane. So, I can leave it at that. Questions? Comments? Concerns? Complaints? Criticism?